The United States accommodates more than 127 million households. Over half of those homes have water damage that fosters mold growth. Molds are fungi that aid in the decomposition of plant and animal matter. This benefits the earth by recycling waste, but problems arise when it interferes with human activity. There are over 100,000 varieties of mold, and most flourish in settings with high humidity. In American homes, it thrives in kitchens, bathrooms, and basements. These rooms are the most prone to flooding and pipe leaks, but mold can spread to almost anywhere. It clings best to porous materials like wood and fabric, making home insulation the perfect breeding ground. This is how mold travels and why its presence is not always obvious. Aside from the fungus itself, which may or may not be visible, warning signs include yellow-brown stains on ceiling tiles and a musty smell. But the problem often goes unnoticed or even ignored for months or years at a time, and by then the damage is done. Although most of those 100,000 varieties are benign, there are at least 5 categories that cause more damage than a green slice of bread. These 5 categories produce mycotoxins, or microscopic particles that destroy cell membranes during the second stage of decomposition. Mycotoxins can be inhaled, ingested, or absorbed through the skin, and they immediately attack the immune system of the new host. Mold toxicity is difficult to identify for many reasons. For one, attacking the immune system leaves the body vulnerable to other diseases that may mask the symptoms of mold toxicity. For another, symptoms vary from person to person, even within the same household. Some may think they have the common cold, while others feel like they are on their deathbeds, and some of them are. Symptoms include chronic fatigue, unexplained weight gain, painful inflammation, distortion or loss of the 5 senses, brain fog, mood swings, and several dozen more. Another common problem is that medical institutions undermine the damaging effects of mold, so the public is not aware of the dangers. What's worse, most doctors don't know to look for mold toxicity as a potential threat, let alone how to identify or treat it. Not that they could. Mold toxicity has no cure. It's not an allergen that the body can fight against. Organs and muscle tissue absorb the poisons, where they accumulate and wreak havoc indefinitely. Victims who identify the cause of their suffering often do so on their own. They discover similar stories from fellow victims online and copy their steps to recovery. Rehabilitation starts by avoiding the source of the problem. People who suffer from mold in their homes take action by evacuating, leaving behind their house and all of their belongings. Removing anything from the infected area could potentially contaminate a clean environment. This is the only way to prevent further deterioration. The next step is to detoxify the body, which primarily applies the same methods that people use to prevent illness: eating clean organic produce, exercising as much and as often as their body allows, and getting plenty of rest. Positive thinking and support groups also speed up the recovery process. On the whole, most people do not feel sick when they come into contact with mold. Granted, some people are more sensitive to it than others, but with high enough doses and prolonged exposure, everyone is at risk, and anyone can fall into a critical condition. Those who have suffered the worst of the worst frequently admit to feeling complacent about mold when they first discovered it in their homes. Now they bring awareness to the dangers and caution the public to avoid it whenever possible.